Hello, Honors Algebra. Mr. Lawrence here with your flipped lesson for what day is today? I can't keep it straight. Thursday, March 15th, the day after Pi Day. Yes, happy belated Pi Day. Sorry I wasn't in class yesterday, but my son was sick. And actually, he ended up being okay on Wednesday, but I had already requested off for sub, blah, blah, blah. And he had been sick the night before, threw up at a restaurant. And anyway, so you got a break from Mr. Lawrence, but not a break from class because class moves on, right? Okay, as you know, I'm still not able to post answer keys on the web page yet until I get an email from somebody. I'm not allowed to do that just because there's a small problem in the district and they're fixing it. So here is the answer key for the homework from class today. All right, so I'll scroll through those slowly. Hopefully you've seen them. You can always back up. There's 22 through 38. Okay. You can always pause the video if you need to. And there's 39 through 42. Okay, that should be good because you can always pause and look at them. You can't go, oh, geez, he's going too fast. All right. So now we need to do a little more work with the quadratic formula. Wait a second. Where is it? Hold on. I think I have. For your musical entertainment, we will have the annoying version of Pop Goes the Weasel with the quadratic formula. And some lovely dancers there, I may add. B squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay, that's enough of that. So x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. All right, and I thought maybe we would do one or two problems from your homework. Let me see here. Some of you really got that out of shape over number 38. It's really simple. 38 was x squared minus 13 equals 0, right? Well, in this case, a equals 1. B, 0, because there's no x term in there. There's 0 x terms. C, negative 13. I'm not sure what the confusion is. It's really simple stuff. Just take a moment and stop and think. Don't try to regurgitate. Oh, that'd be all gross. All right, so negative of 0 is still 0 plus or minus the square root of 0 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 13, and that will get me a positive in there. Yeah, well, all right, so I know I'm going to have two answers. And I'm going to divide by 2a. There we go. I don't like that pen. I like a thinner pen. Okay, so x is going to equal, I can drop the 0 off, plus or minus the square root of 52, I believe, and that'll be divided by 2. So I have two possible answers. Remember that if the discriminant, the part under the square root, the b squared minus 4ac, if that is greater than 0, we have two solutions. If it's equal to 0, that's when we get one solution. And if it's less than 0, that's when we get no solutions. We can get solutions, but they're imaginary. They are not real numbers. All right, so let me go to my calculator at this point because I don't know the square root of 52 off my top of my head. I know it's a little bit more than 7. Okay, so I need the square root of 52. And then I need to divide that by, I don't remember, was it 2? Let me take a sneak peek. It was 2. All right. And there we go. Oh, yeah, that's cool. One answer is, to round to the nearest hundreds, 3 and 61 hundredths. 3 and 61 hundredths. X equals 3 and 61 hundredths. Now, I know some of you are having trouble rounding, and I'm going to show you a trick that Marissa Hecker, a pre-algebra student, learned in elementary school, and I'm not sure why the rest of you are having such trouble with it. But I will show it to you in just a moment. And then we're going to divide that by, oh, I have an error. Second enter. And I need to do an insert, make it negative. There we go. And I'll divide that by 2. And I will get negative 3 and 61/100ths. So, or x equals negative 3 and 61/100ths. Now, today I was helping some people, and they weren't doing any of the work. They were punching all the buttons on their calculator. If you do that, I will not help you. The quadratic formula is a little too advanced for you to just grab your calculator and start pushing buttons. I need to see work. Notice, I did not go to my calculator to here. I did not go to the calculator until I had my thing simplified as much as possible. If you're not willing to do that, then I'm not willing to help you. You need to be able to do the work. Most of you understand that. Most of you have grown up tremendously this year, and you understand you have to do some work before you can learn it. Okay? If you're not willing to do some work, then please don't waste your time, don't waste my time by asking for help, because I am not going to do it for you. I expect you to know how to simplify under the radical. It's just the order of operations. I expect you to use parentheses like I mentioned in a previous video. Okay? If you're willing to do that kind of stuff, then I will absolutely help you. But if not, there is nothing that I can do, because I cannot do it for you. All right, now let's look at another problem here. I can't seem to get my page to change or extend. Hold on one second. There we go. Let's try this problem. Now, I know a lot of you are saying, oh, Mr. Lawrence, I could factor that one and solve it. Absolutely. That would factor as a perfect square trinomial. But we're going to use the quadratic formula on it. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay. And again, I'm going to identify A, B, and C first. A, B, and C. All right, A is 1, B is negative 8, and C is positive 16. Now I'll substitute in. I need the negative of B, which will be 8, plus or minus the square root of negative 8 squared minus 4 times 1 times 16. That is all over 2 times 1. All right, going to simplify. 8 squared is going to be 64. Negative 8 squared will also be 64. I'll have a minus 64 over here, all over 2. 8 plus or minus 0. Hopefully you recognize now that you're going to get one solution. The square root of 0 is 0. 8 plus 0 is the same as 8 minus 0. So I'm only going to get one solution. When I do 8 plus 0, I get 8. 8 divided by 2 is 4. X equals 4 is the only solution. If we went back and checked this by factoring, we could factor it. Well, we could say that's the square root, and there's a square root, and a plus in the back is a Wendy's double stack. So we're going to get x minus 4. Oops, not minus 4, silly. X minus 4. And you could do quantity squared, or you could have set it like this. And in either case, when you solve for x, when you set it equal to 0, you would only get one answer. X is 4. So that's a case where the discriminant comes up to be 0. Okay, so hopefully I did one problem from the homework for you. I showed you another one. Hopefully you're watching these more than once. You're watching it until you have mastery. You're going to come in tomorrow. I'm going to do very little talking, and you're going to practice these problems. All right. By the way, I do want to say that tomorrow is the end of the quarter. Your quizzes will be graded and put on by then. I should get them graded sometime today. Starting fourth quarter, if you are a kid that refuses to come in for help after school, then you will no longer be welcome to come in at lunchtime. I'm starting to feel burned out, and the kids that are burning me out are the ones that go to track practice and never, ever even consider missing half an hour of track practice. Or they never seem to be available after school anytime I've asked, and I've asked several of you many times. But if you are a kid like Josh Perry or Zach Morris or even Caitlin Davis, who they come for help, not necessarily every day, but they come once in a while, they're willing to come when they need it, then I will absolutely keep helping you folks at lunch. But if you refuse to do the work, then I am going to let the chips fall where they may, and your grades are going to tumble. I'm taking the reins off because you are 9 weeks away from being full-time high school students. All right, so quickly, the how to round. Many of you get your places wrong. Okay, here's a little trick Marissa Hecker showed me. She learned it in elementary school. I'm not sure why the rest of you don't seem to know it. But if you have trouble identifying the correct place, put a 1 above the decimal point. And then every digit after the decimal point gets a 0. So the 4 is sitting in the tenths place because you see there's 10 there. That's the tenths place. The 6 is in the hundredths place. Okay, and then the thousandths, the 8 is in the thousandths, the 9 is in the 10,000ths, and the 7 is in the 100,000ths, and it continues on that way, so on and so forth. All right, if you're told to round to the hundredths place, which is very common in my class, you look at the 6. That's the number that will either stay 6 or turn into a different number. And you look backwards, and if that number is a 5 or more, I learned this from Stephen Brooks a couple of years ago, you know, Tony and Sarah's brother. 5 or more, you raise the score. So this number rounded to the hundredths would end up being 325 and 47 hundredths. The 6 turns into a 7 because that's more than 5. Okay, if it was a 4 or less, you'd give it a rest, meaning it wouldn't change. Give it a rest. Sorry about that. Okay, that is the video for today. I expect you to come in tomorrow having mastered the quadratic formula. We'll get a little practice on using it, being able to recite it. Mr. Lawrence signing off. Good night, everybody.